third line. 2, 3. Last line. 3. Alright, so that's the tempo you should be getting up to this week in 13. And now switching over to Knocking on Heaven's Door. I'm going to get out the steel string for this, but remember the handout is up on Blackboard for this. So you should have these chords down, G, D, and A minor. And last time we introduced our strum pattern for this song, right? So G, D, and A minor, which on Knocking on Heaven's Door, this song originally by Bob Dylan. So one of the great songwriters, certainly of the 20th century, Bob Dylan, but there's been many other versions of this song. Guns N' Roses had a very famous version back in the late 80s. I've heard many other versions. So by all means, look it up. Listen to some versions of the song. Any song that you're learning for class, or be sure to actually listen to the original, get the song in your head. We're doing kind of an arrangement of it. So let's go to our G chord, and you want to get out your pick for this one. Alright, so pick gripping between the thumb and the index finger, and then we'll get to the strum pattern here in a second, but let's go to the G chord. Alright, so that one should be comfortable by now. And then the D chord, getting faster at making that. So notice on the D chord, I'm not strumming all 6 strings, I'm just strumming 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, the top 4 strings. Alright, and then the A minor is 5 strings, right? So I'm strumming from the 5th string to the 1st. Alright, that's our A minor. Alright, and so let's try it once just with a down up before we get to the strum pattern. My pick has vanished here. That's what happens. I don't want to take the time to get up and find another one. Oh, there it is. But we should have a couple picks, remember, from the syllabus from the beginning of class. If you can't find one, just strum with the back of your fingernail. But try, if at all possible, if you still have some picks, which we should have it from the course materials that we talked about at the beginning of class. This is where we're getting into the pick. So get a pick out. We're going to be switching. Most of the time we're using fingers for the classical guitar stuff that we're playing in the book, and then now switching into pick when we go to these chord songs outside of the book. The first one being Knocking on Heaven's Door. So a good grip on the pick, if it's new for you, between thumb and index again. I like to make a hook with the index finger and have the pick just sit in there on that top knuckle joint. Keep the thumb knuckle straight, so don't play with the bent thumb like this. And then still don't plant the fingers on the guitar at all. You're just going to do a free floating right hand grip here. And then as we strum, it's one motion from the elbow straight through all the strings. Let's just do quarter notes on the Knocking on Heaven's Door chords before we get to the specific strum pattern that we learned. 3, 4, down, up, and change. So you gotta speed up the time it takes you to change chords now. chord. So if you're not able to get to that D quick enough, here's a good exercise for just the left hand without even using the pick. Make your G chord. As soon as it's down, it looks good. As quick as you can, switch to the D chord. And then as soon as you find that one and it's good, then switch back to G, etc. Just go back and forth between the chords like this a bunch of times in a row. It only takes a minute to do this. And you're just training the muscle memory to remember, the fingers remember exactly where to go. There's no thinking about these. And then remember, it's essential to memorize these 3 chords. So we can't actually play songs trying to read the grid in rhythm. Not going to work. Not just for this class, but for just playing guitar in general. Any chords you're playing have to be memorized. So if you haven't already done so this week, G, D, and A minor, you can play these by memory. They're only referring to the grids. If you forget, you need to refresh your memory, or when you're first learning them. Otherwise, now these 3 chords need to be memorized. All right, so that same exercise, eventually, I can just switch between these, you know, with my eyes closed in my sleep or while I'm singing, and nothing to it. It's just pure muscle memory. All right, so that's a good exercise, and then you can do the same thing between D and A minor, just switching between those. You'll of course do it much slower. D, find that when the chord is good, then switch to A minor, etc., back and forth. So that's a good exercise just to ingrain the shape of these chords and the muscle memory. And then let's go back to our strum from last time. So down, 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 up, down. So say this out loud with me, out there at home. Say this out loud. 1, 2, 3. Here it comes. Down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. Louder. Down, down, up, down. All right, so that's how it's going to stick in your head. Actually say it out loud. Trust me, that's how you're going to memorize it. And then let's try it with the chords here. So exactly how you spoke it just now, now you're going to do that strum pattern. First, let's just stay on the G, and we'll keep that strum pattern going. 3, 4, just stay on G. Down, 2. Tap your foot while you're doing this. 2, down, down, up, down, 2, down, down, up, down, 2. Until you got that locked in. You can go back and rewind what we just did as much as you need to until you get that strum pattern really ingrained. But do speak it out loud. The rhythm is actually written out here at the bottom, remember? So it's a half note on the down. First downstroke is the long one. Down, 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 up, down, 2, 2. So if we counted, it'd be 1, 3, 4, and 1. So each measure is 4 beats. So it'd be 1, 3, 4, and change. 2, 3, 4, and change. And then 2 bars of A minor. So now let's try it with the strum with the chords changing. All right, and you might not be able to quite make these chord changes fast enough yet, but this is what you want to strive for this week. So first step is memorizing each of the 3 chords. That's kind of step 1. But then you're only halfway there, because then the question is being able to switch between them fast enough. That's the other half of the equation, is being able to switch between the chords. That's why you can keep a rhythm going. So you gotta know them individually, and then it becomes a matter of switching between them fast enough. Just on the next beat, you can go right to the next chord without a long pause. So for now, there might be a slight hesitation while you find the next chord, and then reset for the strum pattern there. And now this week, work on connecting them so there's no pause. Eventually, ideally by next week, by the time we get to that midterm, you're able to go straight through 2. Right to the D without a pause. Right to A minor, 2. 2. Some of you who have played guitar before, this is going to be the easier part of the class, all right, if you've already played chords. But for those of you that are new to chords, these are challenging at first. So that's why we're only going 3 chords at a time. It's just a 3-chord song. So it's doable, but you will have to practice these chords in addition to the songs in the book a little every day till you get faster at finding them. All right, so for now it may sound like this. Down, 2, do the strum. The D chord, there's going to be a little pause while you find it. Set the D chord and then do the strum there. 2. Stop and find the A chord as quick as you can, as soon as you get it. 2. And do keep this rhythm going. 2. Alright, so the rhythm getting that strum pattern is going to be essential, and that makes it much more interesting. We can really create different rhythms just like a drummer with different strum patterns with our right hand, right? We're going to learn a couple others. That's the next one we'll get to, but for now, down, 2, but with different strum patterns. Create different rhythms purely with our strumming pattern with the pick. All right, so that's part of the class that we're getting into now. We're going to do a couple different strum rhythms before we get to the end of the semester here. This is the first one that we're doing. So speak it out loud to really ingrain it. Down, 2, down, down, up, down, 2. Be tapping your foot on the quarter note. Down, up, down, 2. All right, last time, here we go, through the chords again. 3, 4, and it's a slow song, so don't rush it and speed it up. It's not this. That's not what we want. That's not. This is a slow, kind of poignant ballad. Really, is the slow. It's a powerful, slow song is what we want with these chords, and also the slower tempo obviously gives you more time to find the next chord. So don't rush. Keep it a slow 2, 3, 4. 2. Etc. Just keep working on that. All right, so don't forget to email me with your attendance, right, to say that you watched the video with the date and mention one of the things I covered in this video. All right, and just stay home and be safe, all right? Unless it's essential to go out, just hunker down and stay home. And I will see you on Wednesday. All right.